let's get on to the final main topic today. Ashley, what's our final main topic?
Next one is from Jimmy Newtron with Avengers Endgame now upon us. It's got me thinking about Spider-Man Far From Home. After Infinity War, there seemed to be a little bit of MCU hangover, and Ant-Man 2 only managed to make just over $600 million at the box office. Do you think the same hangover could hit after Endgame and affect Spider-Man? I know you were predicting Far From Home could hit $1 billion, but do you think coming right after Endgame could hurt its chances?
All right, so there's a big question come up because it is weird to think, Rob. You were just talking about how, like, if there was no other MCU film after Endgame, what a pin in it. Well, there already is one, and it's already made, and it's coming and going to be in theaters in just a couple of months, which is radically weird when you think about that. We got Spider-Man Far From Homecoming. Now, Far From Home. not to be confused with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Did there, John?
So what can we expect? Now, after Infinity War, you're right. We got Ant-Man, or Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man 2. And Ant-Man 2 did not blow it was a big hit, but it didn't threaten joining the $1 billion club. It didn't blow the doors off the barn or anything like that. So could that spell something negative, perhaps, for Spider-Man Far From Home? Was there a little bit of not Avengers or MCU fatigue, but could there have been, like, after Infinity War, we just had such a big surge of energy with Infinity War that everybody needed a breath and just people skipped out on Ant-Man 2? And could the same thing now befall Spider-Man Far From Home? I don't think that's something to worry about, Rob, and I'll tell you why. Because if we're looking at the precedent, which was Ant-Man, and how it did after Infinity War, well, take into consideration how the first one did. I mean, look at this. The first Ant-Man came out. It had an opening weekend of $57.2 million, right? And then it went on worldwide to make $519.3 million. Not bad. A big hit, actually. Big hit for them. Fabulous. The second one exceeded it in every way. The opening weekend, almost 20 million more opening weekend at a $75.8 million. That's a huge bump. And then over 100 million more worldwide by the end of its run with $622 million. So we go from the first film and go into the second film, and we actually see the second film taking significant jumps up from the first one. Did Infinity War hurt Ant-Man? I think the numbers say that no, it did not hurt Ant-Man. If anything, it helped, but at worst, it was a zero sum. It had no influence on it because we saw increases in its worldwide total. We saw increases in its opening weekend total. Now, I think Ant-Man 1 was a better film than Ant-Man 2, but other than that, the numbers just went up. So if we're looking at precedent then now as we come into a Spider-Man Far From Home, well, Spider-Man Far From Home had a magnificent opening weekend. It went on to make over $800 million at the worldwide box office. I got to tell you, my thought that Spider-Man Far From Home will be the next member of the $1 billion club, after Endgame, of course, I'm still holding on to that. And no, I don't think that the adrenaline rush of Endgame is going to hurt Spider-Man Far From Home. Maybe it'll help, but even if it doesn't help, it'll be a zero sum. And I think Spider-Man is just going to go, because remember, people loved that first Spider-Man film. He has a great role in Infinity War. We're now going into Far From Home. The first trailer was fantastic for it. Everybody's excited. Now, I don't think this is going to have a negative impact at all. Rob, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to have a negative impact at all either. And I'll tell you something. By the end of Endgame, it made me really curious how Far From Home is going to work. How is it? There are questions that will be in your mind about Spider-Man going into Far From Home, and I'm really curious what those answers to those questions are going to be. I mean, I thought, again, it just added to my love of Endgame and made me more fascinated about how the MCU is going to go ahead, how they're going to do it. And Spider-Man's one of those big things I had in my mind. I'm like, how are they going to do that? And I'm really curious. I'm more excited to see Far From Home than ever, frankly. Can't wait. And I think it's gonna join the $1 billion club, John. I do.
Yeah.
If it's great,
too.
If it's good.
I do too. And then we are going to have 3 MCU movies in a row if Spider-Man can do it. Because listen, it's a foregone conclusion that Endgame is going to join the $1 billion club. The question is, will it join the $1 billion club in 1 week? So Spider-Man will mark the first time, I believe, that we'll have 3 MCU movies in a row join the $1 billion club, because Captain Marvel has joined the $1 billion club. Endgame is going to join the $1 billion club. It's going to join the $2 billion club. And then Spider-Man Homecoming, if it can do what we think it'll do, it'll be 3 in a row. And then we'll have to see which movie comes next.